The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
All right. My screen is frozen. Great. Can you hear me?
I can hear
yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah. All right.
We and the rest of the world can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
The side screen froze on me, so I can't can't get the picture now. Go ahead. Talk amongst yourselves for 1 second, please.
All right. Well, no, there must be a gremlin in there.
Peas and carrots.
Yeah, I just got to reload my side.
Well, that's quite all right. You know,
I can't tell you how many times I've had dates who have told me that.
Well, you know, technology gets more confusing every day.
And peas and carrots is what they teach you in acting school when you're in a group and you have to make noise, but they don't really want you to hear what you're saying. You go peas and carrots and carrots and peas and peas. And if you do that in a group,
I fixed it.
That didn't take long.
There he is. There's that handsome guy.
See, when you have legends on the show, something always has to go wrong. It just
it's those kids. It's those kids.
It could be my dad.
It could be I don't think he'd interfere with this. But anyway,
well,
maybe it's
I do share his birthday. Maybe he channeled through.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, you know, he's present.
He channeled through. He said, "No, I need to see these two beautiful ladies on the screen a little longer. Just wait." and your picture pops back up. But anyways, folks, welcome to another killer episode of Still Toking with. I mean, when you go live, these little gremlins happen once in a while.
You never know.
I am super excited about tonight's show. Not only do we have one legend in the house, but we have two legends in the house this evening. And I don't think we've ever had two legends in the house at the same time before. Anyways, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm just going to bring in the sparkly one himself because he was already peas and carrots in himself.
I love you,
Mr. Mark.
Hi-ho, cats and kittens. Yeah, we have quite a show today because we have with us, let's see, incredible beauty, incredible long careers of wonderful stuff. Two people who were both related to my favorite movie director of all time, Stanley Kramer, which means they're also related to each other. They just happen to be mother and daughter, but individually they are iconic, legendary actress Karen Sharpe, who has been on everything sooner or later. Unless you turn on your TV set, you will find Karen on something. And her daughter, who is an incredible beauty like her mother and a wonderful broadcaster and journalist and comedian and everything else that she does. She does so well, so much talent, so much beauty. And I happen to know these ladies personally. They are my friends. So I can tell you they're also incredibly wonderful, good souls. So drum roll, please. May I please introduce my dear friends, Miss Karen Sharpe and Miss Kat Kramer. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you.
I don't think I'm ever going to be able to live up to it, but thank you.
Oh, yes, you can and more.
I think you have. I think you've lived up to
it.
it and surpassed it.
Karen, you and I have worked together so many times. I already know you can live up to it and beyond.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Right.
So there is so much to cover about what you ladies have done and are doing, but the one that's like da-da-da-da-da-da at the moment is this, and I am so jealous, wonderful new book that has been written about the funniest film ever made. It's a book.
We have a surprise.
Yes.
Right here.
And there it is. Tell the name of the book, sweetheart.
Comedy is a Grim Business. The making of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World by James Curtis. 300 plus pages. As my godmother, Katharine Hepburn, would have said, it's fascinating.
Warts and all. Starts from the very beginning of the inception of it, the concept, to the casting of it, to the problems with United Artists, all the way up to making it, all the funny stories that went on while they were making it, about these two writers, William Rose and his wife, Tanya. We were brilliant writers. And Stanley, of course, producing and directing and working with the writers. It just takes you through the whole thing to release, to the publicity of it, to breaking ground for the Cinerama Dome, the theater Stanley had built to open It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and the aftermath. And so it really, I met Mr. Curtis when he wrote the book about Spencer Tracy, and he interviewed me.
Yes.
Because Stanley made 4 movies with Spencer: Inherit the Wind, Judgment at Nuremberg, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So I already knew him. And Kat and I have been so lucky, actually, to be asked all the time to officiate or to host a screening of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And then I have produced with Kat and my other daughter, Jennifer, the family, the 40th anniversary, the 45th anniversary, the 50th, the 55th, and so on and so forth. And then we're just getting ready to do another one on the 5th of July.
Yeah, for the 250th anniversary of the United States 4th of July weekend.
Well, couldn't be a better title.
At the Fine Arts, because you know the Cinerama Dome is still not open yet. So the Fine Arts, for the first time I presented, before I showed the flyer, I have Kat Kramer's Films That Changed the World, you know, my cinema series, established in 2009. And I primarily do, you know, documentaries or new filmmakers' films, mostly primarily nonfiction, not always, but that's been the focus of all social issues. I'd never, ever presented my father's films ever for the series until last year with a double feature of Judgment at Nuremberg and On the Beach, because we were marking the anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then also the Nuremberg trials. And it fell on the same date. And so the Fine Arts asked me to do something there. And then they said, would you please have It's a Mad, 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 Mad World in 2026? And it just happens to be that this book is coming out on June 30th. So this is the first book signing, that's ever happened. And here's the flyer. And we're still building, but I'm inviting you today while we're on the show to come on Sunday, July 5th at the Fine Arts, 12:30 arrivals, 1 o'clock. We hope it'll start around between, that's the goal. And it'll be the version with the intermission with the police calls. It's going to be the full version. And there's going to be some surprises. I'm doing a trivia giveaway. And then Mr. Curtis will be there to sign books. And
a great panel.
On the stage there. I'm moderating the Q&A. We're going to have a great panel. Most of the guests that had something to do with the film. And of course, Barry Chase, the last surviving cast member, is going to be there. And comedian actor Jeff Garland, who absolutely loves It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
And I love Jeff.
Isn't he wonderful? And he's so wonderful. Identified with Jonathan Winters when he first saw the movie, and on a personal level. And so he's coming because he's always wanted to host or be involved.
Well, he did host with us once.
Yeah, many years ago.
Yeah, many years at the Cinerama Dome.
Right.
And that's
this will be like the Fine Arts, not the Cinerama Dome, which I've been fighting to have them reopen it. And I was just at that Zoom virtual LA County. We had a hearing, and it made the paper that there's a liquor license now and they're trying to reopen it, but we still don't know. We're all still in the dark about what's happening, but it's a step closer. But the Fine Arts, is an amazing venue that we've had the screening there before, and it was a big, big success. So we're doing it again.
So you're inviting all of our audience?
Yes. You're invited. Now tickets are only $10, but
how can you beat that?
Can't beat that.
Yeah,
no,
but I will be there, and
go back to the cinema.
And we have Josh Mills is coming, Edie Adams' son. We have
Sandy Hackett.
We know son.
Yes, I know Sandy.
And I'm trying to get a hold of Don Knotts' daughter,
Karen.
I have her phone number if you need it.
Yes. So and there's going to be some surprises of just comedians and filmmakers that love the movie.
Well, I will be one of them.
Yeah, and the book is going to be.
Who is a comedian who loves the movie
and signing it.
It is the funniest film ever made.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I will be there, and if you put a microphone in my face, I'll even tell some stories.
Yes.
As the
perhaps
ladies
during
know,
the Q&A, because I'm going to be wanting those anecdotes, and then to get to the book signing.
Yeah. This movie when it was originally finished. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let me finish the sentence. I'll let you guys talk.
Okay.
That I spoke with Ethel Merman, Buddy Hackett, Mickey Rooney, Edie Adams, Sid Caesar. I know these people and talk with them specifically about the film. And I have anecdotes from all of them about making it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I would love to tell some of those. And I will be there in support because I love you. And Definitely. It is the funniest film ever made.
It is, and so many all generations love it, but it's a family film because there's no swear words, there's no dirty jokes. You have to really be funny to deliver those lines, and also the slapstick. So it's really for people that really want to see.
I didn't realize that, but somebody told me, we show it. I always ask young people, well, how do you know about this film? Because you're so young, so old compared to your age. And they said, because we always played it every Thanksgiving or every Christmas. I said, that's great. And they said, well, because it's a clean movie. There's not one swear word. There's not one sexual innuendo. And I'd never thought of it that way. It is a family film. Originally, it was 5 hours long.
Right.
And Stanley was an editor besides everything else. He had an editor, but he always edited his own movies. He was an editor originally anyway. So he edited it down to 4 hours and with intermission. And that's what played the first year. And then UA took it away from him, said it's too long. We can only show, 2 screenings a day. They're thinking about money, thinking about 2 hours and making it 4 times a day instead of 2 times a day. Broke Stanley's heart. They wouldn't even let him re-edit it. And, but what we have today is what, they did. And I'm comfortable with it now. But all that's in the book about, Stanley
It's
really
pretty in-depth,
made
yeah.
UA. They were a dried up little company when he came along in the 40s. He was a complete unknown. The studios were all conglomerates. And he was an independent. He raised his own money, was making his own films. And on his second movie, he got nominated for an Academy Award. And his third one and his fourth one. So he made United Artists. They started with him. And he made 13 great movies for them. And this one was interesting to me that I met one of the sons of one of the heads of United Artists who said, I hate that movie. He cut his eye teeth on that movie when he first came into the business world at UA. And I hated the movie. And he said, in fact, I'm thinking about writing a book about how much I hate that book and hate your husband.
No, hate the movie. You mean
Hate the husband
movie.
and hate the husband. And I said, do it. And he said, well, you're his wife. Why would you say such a thing? I said, because nobody will be on your side. He did write the book. I don't know if anybody saw it. But it's interesting to me that no matter what they tried to do to kill this movie, that it still survives to this day. I can be anywhere in the world, and I've been many places, and invariably somebody will find me and say, are you Mrs. Kramer? I say, yes. They say, you know what my favorite movie is? I said, yes, it's a mad, 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 mad world. How did you know that? I said, because everybody tells me that. So
many people tell me that you wouldn't
survived.
even expect. It just become this movie for everyone and lasted all these generations. And, when you think of film from 1963, which is way before my time, but that people would still be flocking to see it as if it had just opened. It's amazing.
I always say, who's coming? But I'm always pleasantly surprised. There's lines around the block to see it still. And I wish Stanley was alive to know that, because it was a heartbreaking experience for him. And
this book really delves into that, which is brave of
warts and all.
James Curtis.
Yeah. So I hope.
What is it you think? Now, you're so close to this, but I would imagine you have to have perspective. And I'm being such a fanboy here because I am I'm being, among other things, I'm a show business historian, as you all know. Mr. Kramer, it seemed, was unable to make anything that wasn't wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kramer had an eye for casting that was brilliant. But he also, from what I look at, even when he was working with iconic performers, got their best performances out of them. Katharine Hepburn's best performance, Spencer Tracy's best performance, Judy Garland's best performance, Ethel Merman's best performance. And I could make the list of 40 people. And what they all have in common is they were performances directed and produced by Stanley Kramer. What was that about him? Because I know you so well, I never got to meet him.
Oh.
Well, I know. Most of those movies were made before my time, but he was an expert at casting, amazing performers in roles that they wouldn't necessarily be thought of. That's one thing.
Let me answer this. It's a magical situation. I never understood it either. I never understood how he got those movies made, because they were always subject-based movies. People didn't want to hear about them, or they didn't know about it. He brought issues to the screen for the first time and made people look at it. I don't know how he did it. I never saw him sweat it. He was home for dinner every night at 6 o'clock. You could set the clock by him. He would walk through that door to be with his family and didn't want to discuss the day, ever. I don't know how he did it. Is it a magical thing? I know he was great at casting. And I know he believed this too. And I heard somebody else, another famous director, Hitchcock, said, I hire you because that's your job. It's your job to act and find the key to that character. And so I wasn't hand-holding them every minute of the time. As an actress myself, when I was acting, I was praying that I'd get a director that would never tell me what to do, because I knew what I wanted to do. And I worked with many that did that, let me do my own thing. And I think that's where I was at my best. But when directors would want to hand-hold it, I don't think I was as good as I could have been, because it was their vision, not mine. And I couldn't believe myself in that role, But Stanley was, it was like he was on a mission and he accomplished that mission. And the doors just opened up.
I can answer it. It's a Libra thing.
Probably. Balance
thing. Yeah, it's a balance thing.
Ben, tell them why you said that.
Because as I found out backstage, I share the amazing Stanley Kramer's birthday. We're both Libras.
Yes. September 29th.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of our other co-hosts who is on hiatus, he's in the chat, Mr. Holman. He's October 6th or 8th, I can't remember, sorry. But he's also a Libra, so
right.
I think it's a Libra thing. We're going to go with that.
And Jeffrey's birthday is the day before.
He's a Virgo,
Virgo. September 19th is his. She's the 20th. And my birthday, April 4th, is the same as two of your kids, Ben.
That's right. That's right. So there's a lot of connection there.
Very chaste. Very chaste is on the 20th of October.
Yes.
So I'm a 20 on the September. I'm a month older, so I have seniority. We're the same age. She's going to be 93. I'm going to be 93 in September. And she's going to be 93 in October. And we're both pretty wonderful women. I think we're pretty out there. We're kind of, we don't give in to our age. I always say, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were?
Right.
I would never.
I'm 30. I think I'm 30. And I live my life kind of like a 30-year-old, actually.
I would never guess that you were 93. Not in a million years.
Not yet. Not till September.
well, she doesn't.
It doesn't define me. It doesn't.
She doesn't look like she's in her 90s.
No, she doesn't seem like it. Well, and she's doing the autograph show October 23rd and 24th. I believe it is around that time, 24th, 25th. What are the dates? I think
I don't know. It's in October.
In October at the in Burbank for the Hollywood
used to do
show.
It years and years ago.
I did too.
And the one thing I thought would be fun is that you see a lot of people, if they're still alive, that I've worked with that might be there. That might be the fun thing, to have a little reunion that way. But they've been
right.
Right.
So I do want to say, folks, if you're interested in anything that we talk about tonight, whether it's the book or the autograph shows, just check the show notes up above, down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. All their information is there. So you can just click on the link. It'll take you to websites. You can find out the information that you're looking for.
Yeah, we got
the tickets. They're on sale at the Fine Arts Beverly Hills on the website, and it's $10. We decided to do it's almost like a community screening for everyone. It's affordable, and they'll have a great time.
And what's the website?
It's a complicated address. I just go Google Beverly Hills, the Fine Arts Theater Beverly Hills, and it's there. I should know it. But
unfortunately, would you say that's July 5th?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I can get plane tickets that fast.
That's too bad.
Oh, maybe.
No, but I will be in Los Angeles on July 4th as a keynote speaker. As a keynote speaker for a charity on the 4th of July. Right. And I'm going to stay overnight so I can be there as part of this wonderful event. So I'll be there too, guys. Another reason for you to buy your tickets and come out. Not that I'm all that important, but if it gets one more person to buy a ticket, yay.
Oh, yeah, we'd love
now, this particular, just let me jump in, this particular with Kat Kramer's Films That Changed the World, it's in association with my cinema series and K&K Productions, is also going to be in Palm Springs. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but at the Palm Springs Plaza Theater on November 1st of this year, which is like a week before the actual premiere was November 7th. And then James Curtis is going to be on a little road tour with his book in New York. We're not part of that, but they're going to have Mad World there at for Momi, and there's some, I can send the information that's on the website there. And I believe there's another SoCal screening, but I don't know all the details yet. But for those who can't make this, there is the Palm Springs.
And I guarantee you I will be there for that one as well.
Yes.
And I might be able to get plane tickets in time for that one.
Yes, and you're going to love that because that's going to be more fun.
That's
a big
costume.
Deal.
We have a costume.
They just restored the venue.
We have a treasure hunt.
A costume contest,
treasure hunt.
A book signing, and an after party for VIP ticket holders. So that's all you get, all the information for now till it's but put it on your calendar. It's also Sunday at 1:00, November 1st. So it'll, have some of the same elements, but a few different ones. And of course, it'll be another chance for the book and everyone to see the movie there. It actually played the Palm Springs Plaza Theater back originally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So another a question about the film itself. So Mr. Kramer had done this series of incredible dramatic films, one right after the other, each one better than the one that came before it. And then out of nowhere, it seems, he makes the funniest movie ever made.
You know why?
She's going to tell you that.
I'm going to tell you why.
Please.
Well, he was having lunch in New York, which he did often whenever he would go to New York. And this all happened before I met him. But he was having lunch with Bosley Crowther. Now, Bosley Crowther was the head critic for the New York Times.
Yes.
His opinion was God, in our world of movies. And having lunch one day with him, and he said, Stanley, we critics get together and we like to discuss you guys, And Dan Stanley said, yeah. He said, would you like to know what we think about you? And Stanley said, well, yeah. He says, well, we think you're the most influential filmmaker of the 20th century. But there's one thing we all agree on, that you could never, ever make a comedy. Ooh. There was a little stare between Stanley and Mr. Carruthers. And Stanley said, oh, yeah? That's all you had to say to Stanley, that he couldn't do something. He was bound to tell you you're wrong.
Me too. Same with me. That rubbed off on me.
So he set out to make the comedy of all comedies. I think he made a great bet on that one. I think he came through beautifully. Now, his first movie was called So This Is New York. It was also a comedy.
Yes.
And what happened, Stanley made it, and it's really good. It's a good little comedy.
It is. It's wonderful.
And he made a mistake when he premiered it. He premiered it in the Midwest, which I don't understand, because the Midwest has no idea what happens in New York. This is all New York humor, because Stanley is a New Yorker, born and raised in Hell's Kitchen. So it failed. But before the money dried up and for his investor, he rushed into a film called Champion. He had these 2 magazine articles that he had bought the rights to. One was So This Is New York. The other one was Champion. And he rushed into Champion and starred an unknown by the name of Kirk Douglas, which made Kirk a star and got nominated for Academy Award. And then he went on to make The Men and starred Marlon Brando. Nobody had ever heard of Marlon Brando either. And then he did Cyrano de Bergerac. Nobody ever heard of Jose Ferrer. But they all got nominated for Academy Awards. And he had 85 Oscar nominations, 16 wins, and the Irving Thalberg Award. So he did very well for a guy that came from Hell's Kitchen.
People don't understand the difference between writing a sitcom or writing a play that's funny or writing a book that's funny. Doing a film that has that many laughs.
Oh, yeah.
Apart and aside from his directing talent and these magnificent persons in the film. But you mentioned he was also an editor. Mm-hmm. If you don't edit the funniest thing, if you don't edit it right, it falls flat.
Well, he would know what he did. In fact, when we made Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, he had the editor that would listen to him, because Stanley was the editor, but he never took credit for it.
Right.
He'd say, I want that scene, that close up. The day we finished it, the next morning, we saw the first rough cut of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That's the way it was with all of his films. You saw it the minute you finished it, you saw it the next day. And then you knew what you wanted to change or what you didn't want to change. And so Stanley was very smart in his early career too, because what he would do, he'd get investors to invest in 2 films. And he'd say, it's going to take me 6 weeks, knowing it's only going to take him 4 weeks. And so when he finished the film early, in 4 weeks, they thought it was supposed to be 6 weeks. He would finish it in 4 weeks, and he'd give them their money back that he didn't use. So that's a secret of success right there from a beginner who wants to start into film business. That makes people want to keep investing with you, because you finish early and you give them their money back.
And a lot of the things in the book, I have to say, are also great for filmmakers.
Oh, yes.
For film buffs, but also for filmmakers or any creative that wants to, how do I put a movie together? Or even in today's, it's different, but a lot of the things, as my father used to say, the more things that are different, the more things stay the same. So a lot of things never change. and just the whole, vision and scope that he had for this, being able to take on something like this. It was like you said, he wasn't known for, but it was innately in him, or he would never have been able to tackle it.
It's also a serious subject
about greed.
A car, it's a car going down a street, going over a cliff and dying. Could be a drama. And these guys want the money, and it could have been a whole different setup. It's just how you say it. If you look at the scenario of the story, and then people will do anything for money, And we thought we were crazy in 1963. Well, look at us now. And it really is a mad.
The smallest little thing was genius. Because I saw the film in 1963 when it came out.
Me too. Yeah.
So for those of you, if you haven't seen this film, you don't have a pulse.
I didn't see it in 1963.
Yeah.
That was a little before my time.
And I want to make sure all people that haven't seen it, or they're seeing it at these chances, to see it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So there's not just look at it on your phone or on Amazon Prime or whatever. Yeah,
this is big. So I saw it big.
The wide screen.
Well,
I saw it big in New York.
The Tarawa Dome was a curved screen and 70 millimeter, but it was a thing at the time. It was a happening when that opened. And you felt like you were in the moment, with the actors, and it was quite a premiere. Stanley was a really great promoter of his careers, of his films too. Excellent promoter.
I did want to bring up just this one moment in the film that's in the moment is like, this man's a genius. So you mentioned the car goes over the rail. A person falls out of the car and is dying. I won't even tell you who it was. I want you to go see the film and figure out which incredible legend played this part. And the person, there's dialogue with all of these legends, and the person passes away. And as they pass away, their foot kicks a bucket just long enough for the joke to land. And I remember as a kid going, oh my God, he kicked the bucket. That's brilliant. And I was only like 5 years old when I'm seeing this, but something that small and yet perfectly landed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what was interesting to me too? You know how you're always taught not to overlap the dialogue? Right. But they overlap all the time in this movie. And you never miss a minute of what anybody says.
And it all matches.
All matches. I don't know,
how you do that. So when I'm saying it all matches is, there's a long shot of everybody. There's close-ups of two people. There's close-ups of one person. And then in the editing process, it's edited together. We don't notice that the camera is changing, but it does.
It does, yeah.
But when you have overlapping dialogue like that, and it still matches, is a brilliance in editing.
Yeah,
that needs to be, again, my hat, if I would ever take my hat off in public, my hat off to that, because it's
also the stunts.
They were way ahead of their time.
They didn't have the technology in those days. Those stunts were real. Those car chases and everything. It wasn't.
Yes.
And they've been copied. Bullet copied them. Every, people now and then with those car chases, they copy from Mad World. And but it's easier today to do things like that than it was in 1963.
Right.
So those were stunts that nobody ever got hurt, but it's amazing that nobody got hurt. But,
and the music and Ernest Gold.
One of the stars of the movie is the music. It's the music.
Yes.
Not just Ernest the theme song, which I've had the pleasure of singing myself a few times when Ernest Gold was honored. But the score, and that when people think of Mad World, they forget that it was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, and it won for Best Sound Special Effects, Walter Elliott.
Right.
So it's you could say Oscar-winning classic, and it's it's an Academy Award.
And for our friends out there who don't understand what we're talking about, sometimes when you're making a film, especially on location, there's all of these outdoor things. Sometimes you have to either blot out the sound you're getting or shoot it silently, MOS, and then you add in all the sounds back in the studio after the fact. And to do that and make that seamless is this kind of person's job, and Oscar winning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's very holds up today, which is an interesting thing too.
I want you guys to buy the book. I'm hoping in the book that it tells. There's very humorous. There was a friendly rivalry.
Oh,
while the
yes.
film was
Rivalry.
made
Oh, yes,
between
rivalry.
Ethel Merman and Milton Berle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you may not even know where that started. I will take a minute to tell you.
Okay.
In 1949, Ethel Merman had just finished doing Annie Get Your Gun on Broadway. Her first TV show was Texaco Star Theater with Milton. And she'd heard that Milton would push people with his hand, their shoulders, to twist them away from the camera, which is literally upstaging people.
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't have that done. So they were doing a sketch together. And in the sketch, they're wearing costumes. And she put itty bitty little pins that you couldn't see in the camera all over her shoulder. So that when he went to grab her, it was ouch. That was it. Game on. The sketch disintegrated into two people trying to outdo each other. It was hysterical.
It's so funny. I actually used to open for Milton when I first moved back to LA.
You know, if you notice in the movie, he's all the group as they're running or going. He's always the last one. You know, always make sure he's on camera longer than anybody else. He takes one of his pills or whatever, and he's always the last one. So it was he was that way. Catherine
I opened for him when I was just a teen, and he would come on stage at the Friars Club, and he would come on even while I was doing this song that he had nothing to do with, and try and get in on the act, even though I was in between his set or whatever. So it was amazing learning from him, though, and to say that I got to know and meet as many as I could. I mean, this movie was made way before my time, but I did get to know the comics, the comedians, the actors.
Let me say,
except for Spencer Tracy and Ethel Merman, and a lot of them, I'd never met most of them.
Milton was always at every show you ever did. He never would miss it.
I mean, I never met Dick Shawn because he died on stage, So
I knew Dick.
But I did get to meet and spend time with the bulk.
Whenever I would produce the anniversaries, I would call. They would all come. I'll be there. I'll be there. Whenever I asked, they were so generous. They so loved Stanley. They didn't know what to expect because he was a serious filmmaker, But they learned. Stanley, had a wild sense of humor himself. He was a very funny man, and had a great wit. And so they all lived. I'm going to tell the Jonathan Winters story.
Please.
And the book opens with a lot of, that's just a little teaser because I want everyone to read it, not to give away too much. It does open brilliantly with Jonathan Winters as the centerpiece subject.
Well, Stanley had seen Jonathan on the Jack Parr show. He was a late night television show, like, Jimmy Kimmel is now. And he just guessed it on there a couple of times. And Stanley was a great discoverer of talent. So he called up Mr. Winters and said, I'm who he was, and he was making this movie, and it was Spencer Tracy and Milton Berle. Mr. Winters said, oh my, Spencer Tracy, Milton Berle, oh, and Mr. Kramer, I just can't. I've never acted before. He said, I nobody knows who I am. And he said, you'll be just fine. He said, no, you don't. He said, and so finally he got so tired of Mr. Kramer saying, it's okay, you'll be fine. He said, Mr. Kramer, I have to make a confession. I just got out of the mental institution, and they've declared me certifiably insane. So Stanley said, Mr. Winters, every actor I've ever worked with is certifiably insane. I think you'll do just fine.
Johnny told me that.
And in my opinion, he steals the whole damn movie anyway.
Johnny told me that story. I'm so glad you told me.
I just love that story. He became one of our dearest friends. In fact, when Stanley was ill, and he knew that I'd put him to bed every night around 9 or 10 o'clock, and Catherine would be out and Jennifer would be out, and I'd be sitting there looking at TV. He'd call me every single night for 30 minutes, and he'd make me laugh. And he got me through Stanley's, death, actually. He was the dearest man. He and his wife both were terrific. They would always come out whenever I'd ask for them. And
he introduced my first show at the Cinegrill. I'm actually at Carlos
right.
and Charlie's.
Oh yeah, Carlos and Charlie.
When
she was like 19 years old, and she did her first show.
And then so he really, that was such an amazing experience and honor having him.
In talking with so many of the people who helped make the film, I only heard one negative thing, and it wasn't about Stanley or the film. was Sid Caesar admitted that he had been drinking and drugging during the making of the film and didn't remember a lot about what he did. And to be that talented, and he's brilliant in the film. Brilliant in the film, and he's not all there. It's like, how much better could that possibly have been? He felt that he could have been better in the film. And then Edie would laugh that because she never knew what was going to come out of Sid because he wasn't all there, she had to improvise a little bit in her reactions, which she found stimulating. Having worked with Ernie Kovacs for so many years. So, but I've never heard one negative thing. I mean, everybody involved just thought it was a wonderful thing for them.
Well, they were very
and
happy.
Sid would always come if he could. He was at like one of the last Q&As.
And Norman, this great big Broadway star, she said to me that she had not gotten the film of Gypsy, and that she felt that God gave her this film instead.
Yes.
Because the film of Gypsy ended up not doing very well, and she's starring in the biggest comedy ever made, and was so grateful for it.
Oh yeah, she was lovely. And I had another story when I produced the 50th anniversary of it. I went to the Academy of Motion Pictures.
Well, they had it at the Samuel Golden for their big.
It was the
70 millimeter that they were doing.
And so I asked them if I could do it, and they said yes. And I said I'd like to get Billy Crystal to be hosted with me. Oh no, I didn't know Billy Crystal. He said no. We prefer you not to do that. I said, well, why not? I think he'd be great. No, I don't think this is a good idea. So knowing who I am, she knows me very well. I said, oh yeah. So I called him up myself, and I said, I don't know if you ever saw the movie or you ever liked. He said, just let me tell you my Mad Girl story. And he said, when he was 15 years old, his father had passed away, and he was having a very hard time during that summer. And the film opened, and he and his best friend at the time, they were 15 years old, were the ushers at the theater in New York. And they got fired because they kept sitting down watching the movie and not doing their job. So he said, I'd be very, very happy to co-host with you, Karen. And then he called me just 2 days before we were going to do this major event. And he said, you remember that young guy I was telling you about that was my best friend when I was living in New York? We were 15. I said, yeah. He said, I'm flying their whole family out. And so I haven't seen him in years and years and years. And we're going to sit there and watch this together at the Academy. I thought that was one of the most wonderful things, that this movie had inspired him to get in touch with his friend after that many years. And he was a great host, of course. Just nobody like Billy Crystal.
Right.
And all the guys, they had a great time on stage with him, And I had Len Stallmaster, who was casting it.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And then
I had a lot of the behind the scenes.
I had a lot of the behind the scenes people there. I always try to get them too, because they really make your movie. It's them. They're there before you get there, and they're there after you leave. And so I always try to get the whole gang. And I've been very successful. And now we're down to the wonderful
Barry Chase. Yeah.
I'm thrilled that she's going to be there.
And so many great creatives love the movie, as you know. And we've had like Mark Hamill. He came and brought his whole family, and he wanted to be part of the Q&A and just to talk about his love of it. The late Jeff Beck, the musician, it was his favorite film, and he sampled some of the movie in one of his tracks. I mean, it has such a huge, wide, not only cult following, but just fan base of, people that you wouldn't even expect that love the movie. So this is really what I want to bring in this screening on the 5th. Is, laughing together and enjoying it all as an audience in Ultra Panavision, since the Dome isn't open. But this is the next best thing to be able to see it at this venue and, introduce a lot of, different generations. A lot of young people have seen it, but I want more, and even adults that maybe haven't seen it in many, many years to see it. It isn't just for the fans. Of course, it always is, but it isn't just for them. It's for everyone. And I'm really aiming to get a lot of new people seeing it, so they can raise their hand when I say who's seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Won't that be spectacular?
Yes.
Right.
Karen,
Yeah.
As an actress, do you have a favorite role in your iconic career?
Oh, I guess I've been asked that before. I really don't know.
I know you have.
I really don't really have any. I think there's moments of my life that helped my career. I think The High and the Mighty was a role playing that Nell Buck on. I was introduced in that film. It was an all-star cast with John Wayne and Claire Trevor and some of the really great actors of their day. I was just very lucky to get that job, and I got the Golden Globe for my performance, and that really set me up to have a career. Because, you know, it's once you, in those days, if you were on Broadway, you had a great review and you went into movies, it kind of sets you up for having a longevity of a career. In those days with me, that set me up. I'd done a couple of little movies like Bomba and the Jungle Girl, which has a big cult following to this day. And I think, really? But okay. And my agent at the time got me an interview with Bat Jack, which was John Wayne's company. And it was late in the afternoon. He walked me in there with no appointment. And William Wellman, who was directing The High and the Mighty, was not there at the time. But Andrew McLaughlin was there, who was just the first AD. And He said, I think you'd be so great in this role. And he said, and we're testing tomorrow morning at Warner's. I'm going to give you the sides, and I want you to report to Warner Brothers tomorrow morning at 7:00. We'll test you. We have 10 other people testing, and you'll test with a young actor who's also trying out to play your husband. I said, okay. So Mr. Wellman comes back to the office, and he says, what do you mean you tell this complete stranger to me that she's going to be testing tomorrow morning? Not happening. He said, you get on the phone right now and you tell her, sorry, I made a mistake, but you can't come to test tomorrow morning. Well, in those days, we only had the telephone. We didn't have all the other technology
no cell
phones. And I was out looking for what I was going to wear. I was just played a high school student, just having graduated from and got married and went to Hawaii and on her honeymoon, coming back from her honeymoon. So I chose a sweater and skirt, and I was out shopping for what I was going to wear. And I didn't only have the sides, that's all I had. So he could never get me. He could never reach me. So the next morning, I was supposed to be there at 7. I got there at 6. I always know to be early. For all you want to be actors, be early. Never hurts you. And to take a look at the set, kind of take a look at how things were going so I could figure out how I'd do my best work. Happened that John Smith, one of the actors who was scheduled to test, the lady who was going to test with him pulled out that morning because her agent didn't think the part was good enough for her. And so they didn't know what to do. And suddenly they said, oh my God, she's here. That Karen, whatever. He said, put her with him. And they were relieved that he had somebody to test with. They didn't care a damn about me, just so he could test now. So we were like 7th or 8th on the list of testing. And Mr. Wellman never liked to, he'd like to tell you what he wanted, and he would print the first rehearsal. And so he told us what he wanted. We did the first rehearsal, and he printed it, and he says, I don't have to see anybody anymore. I don't want to see, you're my Nell, and you're my, whatever his name was. And so we got the part before we ever left the studio that day. Wow. And that opened up John Smith's career and certainly set me into having a great career. And I was under contract to John Wayne for about 4 years. And I said, I can never play opposite you. I'm too young. And all the other studios have contract players. Do you mind if I do something that's not respected? I know it's not respected, but I need to learn my craft. Do you mind if I go to television and work there?
In those days.
In those days, you did not go to television if you were an actor in film and you got an Academy Award or a Golden Globe or whatever. That was just like stepping down. And he said, I want to do live TV. There was a lot of live TV in those days. And I was curious about it and I wanted to do it. And so he said, go ahead, do it. I'll let you do it. Well, I then got nominated for an Emmy for doing a live television show, and I loved doing live. I today it would terrify me. I wouldn't even. I would say absolutely not. But every time I do one thing, I'm never going to do this again. And then they call me. I say, okay, I'll be right there. But I loved live TV, and then television just opened up for me. Just opened up, and I just never. There was not one show I don't think I did. I didn't do Star Trek. I think that was the only thing I didn't do. But but I was very, very lucky. But,
well, the three of us did an event together in Palm Springs.
Oh yes,
for one of your appearances on television. You want to touch on that just very briefly?
I Dream of Jeannie.
This was
that's
Major
right.
Nelson's
I was the moderator.
That's right. I Dream of Jeannie. Yeah,
that's one of her most famous roles.
I don't know about that. I get a lot of fan mail about that role. Yeah, my father had passed away in Texas, and I'm an only child, and so I went back to settle his estate. It took me about a year to settle it, and I came back into the business, and I couldn't get arrested. You know, when you're working all the time and you suddenly are not there for a year, they forget you. And so I went to a Screen Actors Guild event, and I sat next to Gene Nelson, who was, as far as I knew, he was a performer, dancer, and certainly well known and well thought of. And he said, "I'm doing this television series. There's a role for you. I wish you would play. I think you're perfect for it." And he told me it was going to be with Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman. I'd never heard of Larry Hagman at that time. I said, "Well, I know Barbara." I said, "But this is a second leading lady part?" He said, "Yeah, it is." I said, I don't do second leading ladies." He said, "Would you do me this favor?" And I said, the pilot? And he said, just do the pilot. I said, because he said it may never be picked up. I said, "Well, all right, but if it is picked up, I want them to understand and you to understand I'm not going to continue on the show as a second leading lady." He said, "All right." So I did the pilot, and of course it was picked up. And I went to see Sidney Sheldon, who was producing and writing. And I said, "I'm not going to do this series." And he said, "Are you sure you won't change your mind?" And I said, "I'm not changing my mind." He said, I'll write you out." I said, "Thank you." He said, "You have to let me know if you like the way I do it." I said, "All right, I'll read it." I read it, I liked it, and I did the second show, and I got out of the series. And then I got the Jerry Lewis movie, The Disorderly Orderly, which changed my life completely, because that's when I met Stanley. But anyway.
I actually have a picture from that.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yes.
There's several, but that's kind of our favorite one, right?
Well, no, Dynamite is my favorite movie.
No, I mean picture from The Disorderly Orderly.
Oh, yeah.
The Disorderly Orderly, yes.
Well, Jerry had wanted me for a couple of other movies. And my agent at the time said, I'm not gonna let you work opposite him. I hear things about him. And he said, "I don't want you to." He turned me down. We turned him down. And then after I did the I Dream of Jeannie, he called me, and he heard that I was looking for work, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He tripled my salary. He had Edith Head make all my clothes. I mean, he really knocked himself out to get me, and so I said yes, and then I began to work with him, and believe me, it was not we just didn't get along. Let's put it that way. At all. And he punished me. He made me come in twice as early, never use me. He would not rehearse with me. The first rehearsal, he would print. And of course, I'd already had a lot of that experience with first rehearsals being the actual on print. Live television teaches you an awful lot. And so did working with Mr. Wellman. So I had already prepared myself. I could hold my own with him no matter what. And most of it's just kind of like on the moment. But that led me to Stanley. And I was go to the commissary every day. Nobody was allowed to speak to me.
It was before the Me Too movement.
If anybody was speaking to me that was on the set, they'd be fired instantly. So it was a lonely gig, let's put it that way. So I would go to the commissary by myself, and I'd see this long table over on the north side of the room with all these great people who had Jose Ferrer and Oscar Werner and Simone Signoret and what was his name? Oh, can't remember now. But anyway, and then in would walk Vivian Leigh with her entourage and her scarves, and I just sit there, and my mouth would fall open, watching her. So I got up enough nerve to sorry about the phone ring, to walk onto that closed set. The set was right across the way from ours, and I'd been in the business for a long time, and I'd never visited anybody else's set when I was working on my own. I found it hard enough just to do what I'm doing. I didn't care about the next job. There was usually one waiting for me anyway, so I wasn't looking for work. So, but I wanted to see Vivian Leigh work, and it took me about 2 weeks to get up enough nerve to walk onto that closed set. And Stanley had this film was called Ship of Fools.
Yes,
he had that ship. He had most of that whole ship on the stage. Now, I had never seen anything like that before, ever. And I'm standing in the water part, and Vivian is in rehearsal, up on the ship, And I'm just standing with my mouth open, and I heard this voice coming from way up there on the camera. Who is that? He's talking about me. And I started to say who I was, and somebody came to my defense and said, that's Karen Sharpe, she's working. And he said, oh, you can stay. I said, oh, thank you. And I thought, that's that director, what's his name? But who is that director? Yeah, I'm glad I don't work for him. I thought, in my mind, well, I really shouldn't stay. I really got to go. So I left. And the next day, walking to the commissary, I guess the person who had defended me to Stanley came up to me and said, Karen, why didn't you stay the other day? Because Stanley Kramer, our director, wanted to meet you.
Werner Klemperer, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Werner Klemperer.
Yeah.
I guess it was. Yeah. So I said, well, why? I mean, isn't this film cast? And he said, well, I don't think that's what he had in mind. I said, well, I don't get involved with those people, So a few days later, my manager called me and said, Mr. Kramer would like to take you to dinner. I said, oh, no. I said, please, I think the film is cast, first of all. I said, no, you tell him that if he wants to see me, it's over a desk. I'd be happy to read for him, but I'm not going to have dinner with him. It took Stanley about a year to get a date with me. He kept calling my manager. And I kept saying, tell him no. I don't do that. So finally, he said, look, you tell him. I'm tired of tap dancing for you. You tell him. I said, well, all right, give him my number. So he called me and I said, well, Mr. Kramer, I'm working and I didn't never go out when I'm working. He said, well, just put on a pair of blue jeans. And I said, Mr. Kramer, I don't wear blue jeans. So I put him off. And finally I said, okay, I'll give you Monday night at 6:00. I'll meet you at 6 and I have to leave at 8. But I'll meet you at the Tail of the Cock, the restaurant. He said, the one in Beverly Hills? I said, no, the one in the Valley. Dead silence. I said, oh, I guess there's a stigma about coming to the Valley. I said, well, who could blame you? I wouldn't want to come over the hill either. He said, no, I'll be there. So I arrived at 6. He was already waiting for me. I spent the whole dinner looking at 8:00, gotta go. It was a disaster. So my manager calls me and how did it go with Kramer? I said, well, first of all, none of your clients are ever going to work for him. I'm definitely never going to work for him. It was a disaster. I did my thing. So now don't ask me anymore. I had dinner with a man. Well, I ended up in the hospital with an appendix that was about to burst. It made it into all the newspapers. So who calls me at the hospital but Stanley? Can I bring you dinner when you get home? And I said, okay, all right. So then I called up my friend Henry Wilcoxon. I bet you know who Henry Wilcoxon was?
Of course.
He's a screen star. He was about 75 at the time. But I knew him because I had tested for the 10 Commandments. I was supposed to do the 10 Commandments. And then Deborah Paget had a problem with they ended up giving it to her after all and not to me. And I met Henry. He was DeMille's right-hand guy. And we became very great friends. He was a great chef, by the way. And so he dropped in accidentally on purpose, like I asked him to. They bonded like crazy, he and Stanley. And he said, you'll have to come to my house for dinner and bring Karen. And I said, oh, okay. And so I said, see, Stanley, I'll pick you up. I said, no, I'll meet you there. 2 weeks later. I said, I'll meet you there. So I met him and listened to them talking. This went about 3 times. I went to Henry's house, met Stanley there, and they talked, and I listened. I fell madly in love with Stanley. And he asked me to marry him, and I said yes, and never looked back. So I owe Jerry Lewis, in spite of the fact if he'd been nice to me, I probably would never have gone on that set. But anyway, sometimes these things that are not happy experiences turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Right.
So that's how I met and married Stanley.
Yay. Kat, you had mentioned something earlier. We went right by it. We talked for just a minute about the late lamented Beverly Hills Friars Club, of which we were.
Yes.
Because I think that's where I first met you, long ago.
Really? It was so long ago, but I was doing my one-person show and acting and everything. That's kind of the reason we moved back to L.A.
And Milton came to the show.
Milton was like one of the first of my father's repertoire of legends that I actually met, and he became a mentor. And so, I opened for him, and I used to spend sometimes afternoons with him and his cronies. And I guess, we did, but I used to sing a couple of times there. I think it was more than once. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I was in your audience.
Amazing,
At least
you
once.
remember that. Okay.
Of course. Well, first of all, you were not that you're not gorgeous now. You were such a pretty girl. And because Milton and I were good friends, and because of your father, of course I was going to be there. Nothing like the Friars Club exists any longer.
No.
I know. And those Friars, they do the comedy roast, but they're not Friars roast. It's certainly not the same, and it's not intimate. It's a big thing.
Milton would look at that, what they do today, and he'd say to me, "Do you think this is funny?"
Yes.
I'd say no, because it isn't funny. It's just debasing humanity.
I do think personally some of it's funny because I'm that generation. But what she's saying is why it's a mad world, as has lasted all this time, is because it was really classic humor, and it didn't rely on any debasing or bathroom jokes or any of that.
Sexual innuendos.
Yeah.
Even the scene where they're like, Merman is trying to get a hold of her son, and they're dancing in little bathing suits. It intimates that perhaps they're a little stoned, or perhaps they're having an affair.
It's supposed to be stoned.
But it only intimates it. There's nothing there that any child couldn't see.
That's right. That's right. It's a matter of taste.
And then also when you think of all the great comedians that didn't end up in the film that wanted to. He pretty much had everybody, but they're like Lucille Ball. I don't know.
Red Buttons came to me.
Red Buttons.
I invited him to one of the anniversaries, and he said he was such a darling man. I like Red so much. He said, "Oh no, you don't understand." He's like, "I can't." Stanley didn't cast me in that. It broke my heart. I'm the only comedian that he never cast in the movie. I said, "Well, I don't think you're right about that. Lucille Ball wasn't in it. Bob Hope wasn't in it." I went down this major list of people who were not in it. I said he cast them as actors, and the part just didn't fit you. But
some of them couldn't do it or even turned it down. You just never know.
Ball wasn't available because she was about to take over Desilu from Desi and starting the Lucy show. There was just no time in her schedule for her to fit in to that schedule.
She's always been one of my sheroes, as you can tell by my hair.
She and Lily Tomlin. We'll talk about Lily some other time.
Oh yes, yeah.
Wonderful
Lily is my main performing idol and inspiration and mentor. That's a living person, But Lucy was.
She was going to come and see you.
Yeah, she actually died. Right, that's another story for another show. But and she sent Wanda Clark, her secretary, who wrote
just
me a
passed
note.
away.
Yeah, so I used to perform at the Lucy conventions, so I'm a bit of an expert aficionado. But on Lily, I am like, I strive to be the aficionado extraordinaire.
No, you are.
I'm lucky and blessed. Yes, that she's given me a lot of her, tapes and DVDs and things to watch too through the years. The main wife,
she's an amazing actor.
Yes, she is. Yes,
yeah.
As performers, both of you, do you prefer performing the more serious stuff, or do you more enjoy doing the comedy?
That's a great question. I don't know, because stand-up comedy is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I really launched it during the pandemic. I mean, I've done like comedy duo things and sketch comedy.
We wouldn't let her do it anymore.
But then, because I was on a roll doing it, but I only stopped because everybody was afraid about bringing COVID home and all that
Right.
stuff. So, but I just decided to, and I created Cat Kramer Comedy. So now I'm getting back into it again in terms of just doing the live clubs. But I was even doing Zoom open mics because that was, during the time that they didn't even have the live open mics.
Fear. She has no fear of performing. She does.
So I don't know what I just find
never.
it very hard. I don't know if I like which one I enjoy more. I just find it to be, you have to be fearless. And especially if you haven't been doing it a lot and you just suddenly get up in front of a professional, a paying audience to do it, which I did.
Well, singing
singing is more my main love, but I want to combine both.
Well, you are so good at all of them, my dear.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Karen, same question for you. Do you prefer comedy or drama when you're acting?
Probably drama. It's easier. Comedy is much harder because you don't know. Drama, you're working opposite somebody and you sort of know what you're doing. But comedy is harder because if you're working with somebody who's really good at it, there's a lot of improvisation that comes into it. And sometimes I'm not good at it. Sometimes I'm good at it. Depends. I can't count on myself. If it's written, then I can do that. But a lot of people don't stick to the script. And so, I'd like to think I could do it. I didn't have a lot of it offered to me, though. I guess I Dream of Jeannie was a light. I could do light comedy like that. But I don't know. Everything to me was like the first time I ever did any of it. I don't know how many shows I did. It was like I'd never acted before. I get the script and think, who is this person? It's just words on a piece of paper. I got to bring something to it.
Of course.
And it was like I didn't know what to do. It would just be painful to do it every time, to think if I can just be good enough, and I never stopped working at it.
And you were always good enough, my friend.
Well, you're very kind to say that, but it's a lifelong dedication.
Well, that's why you're so good at it, because you didn't take it for granted.
I produce now. I don't really act anymore, so I haven't acted for a long time. But I find producing very, very hard. I think acting is a lot easier than producing. But the one thing about being a Virgo, as we talked about earlier, is that I'm very particular about every little thing. And that helps me that stands me in good stead with producing.
Well, you have produced a fine friendship for us.
Thank you.
Which I love. And I will be seeing you guys at lunch on Tuesday. I can't
wait. That's the most
Yes.
important thing, your friendships in this industry. That
Right.
means
And in
everything.
life,
And that is comforting. It's very comforting to know that you're there.
Yes. Well, thank you. Likewise. Bette Midler once said a brilliant thing, and in the time that I read it as a young person, I didn't understand it, and boy, do I understand it now. When she really started to hit it big in the 70s, when she had hit records and was starting to make movies and was becoming the divine Miss M, and someone asked her, "What's the hardest part of all of this for you?" And her answer was, "Trying to find somebody who's happy for me."
Yeah.
And I admire her too. I have to say, she's one of my heroes. But that's a really good one. And she could have followed this up by saying, "Find someone who's happy for me, who I can trust."
Right.
Besides, because they could be happy for you, but you can't trust them.
I don't know if they're so happy for you when you succeed.
That's
I don't know about
that's
that
a very honest remark that she made, for sure.
I like her too.
I am grateful that you guys are happy for me. That makes me
absolutely.
And back at you.
Oh, it makes me happy.
You have to be happy for others and their success, because then there's no reciprocation. Also, you build community engagement that way, and we're all connected, I believe.
Right.
No.
But what she said now, it's going to stick with me. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, you have to forgive them. They just, it's hard out there. And,
it is.
And so you have to forgive them for feeling that way. It's a natural feeling, I think. But you try to overcome it and be happy for people who are succeeding.
One of the people who's very happy for me and is this moment in my life has been there for me is Ben. besides producing my my Ella Fitzgerald podcast. He's an amazing friend. And
That's what
you wouldn't know that. Jeffrey didn't let me get a word in edgewise tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. One of the ways you know how good a friend he is I haven't let him talk for the whole hour. I'm sorry.
That's okay, because we're just gonna have to do a part 2.
Well, we will. Yes, because I literally our audio description. I advocate for the deaf and the blind community and also disabilities at large. But for the visually impaired, and there's a lot of just older people or just that are not blind but are visually impaired. Besides those that are legally blind, it's always good to do a description of yourself so that they can get a sense of that if they're just listening to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And obviously, for the deaf, it has to be captioned and.
Right. So that you see me looking over, I'm running another live feed from this over here with the captions to make sure.
Great.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad.
I know Adrienne Barbeau does that too. I know, Jeffrey, you've had her as a guest. You both. She told me that she does the captioning and all that for a lot of films and everything.
And
I've always advocated and gotten behind that.
We are also, in some places, only heard on audio. So let me tell you that Kat is a gorgeous redhead with chin-length hair and stunningly beautiful. Her mother, Kat, is a blonde who is also stunningly beautiful. Kat is wearing royal blue. Karen is wearing gorgeous hot pink with gorgeous jewelry. And Ben is ridiculously handsome in a T-shirt. And I wear a lot of sequins. Now you know how we look.
That's great. And you have reddish hair, a beard with
and you have a beautiful hat on with all
beautiful hat that I would like.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, we'll talk.
I mean, there's so much that the two of you have accomplished over the years. We didn't even touch 1% of that this evening.
Thank you. I still have so much more to do, and there's not enough hours in the day to do it.
Well, we're that family that works all the time. We work 7 days.
Oh, that's like me.
My youngest daughter is also a filmmaker, and she is great.
And an actress and a musician.
She does it all.
Composer.
She's more talented than we are, actually. And so she's coming along really, really well. And so we're very proud of her. And her name is Jennifer Kramer.
So definitely she'll have to join our part 2.
And she's a brunette.
And ladies, let me tell you, and then I'm going to shut up because he never offers a part 2. The rule of this show is you only get to be on once unless it's like several years later. I have never heard him on the air offer a part 2 to anybody. So please take that as the compliment that it is.
That's not true. I've done it once before, and that was to Tosh Plum Lee, who was a CIA cardboard cutout that was actually affiliated in On the Knoll when JFK was assassinated.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm going to hold you to it because I'd love to do the show again.
I would love to have you back to talk about your careers. I mean, I got lost in listening to the two of you talk about Stanley tonight. And I don't usually get lost in a show, and I kind of was just like, wow.
Yeah,
and then Jeffrey would pipe in, and I'd go, "Oh, we're doing a show."
Maybe in November to plug the thing we're all going to do out here in the desert.
Yeah. Yes, because most, as you know, well, in my mind, most, but so much of the movie was filmed in Palm Springs and Palm Desert, so it's like you can go to the locations before coming
in
to the
August,
screening.
no less. I mean, please, that must have been terrible for those guys, but it was in the heat of the summer. So,
but we are way over time, which is great.
Yes.
I'm okay with that, but I don't keep you ladies all night. So make sure you check the show notes, folks, up above, down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, to find out even more about these two amazing ladies. It's all there. Go ahead and plug the July 5th again, if you would.
It's the Fine Arts Beverly Hills on Wilshire Boulevard, 8556, I believe. At 1:00. That's when you need to be there before that, but that's when the intros and everything leading into the film. I don't want to give too much away, but 1:00. Arrivals at 12:30 for those celebrities that are doing that. And it'll be the movie. There's a Q&A, the book signing, and then there's going to be like a little trivia
giveaway
game. A giveaway. Yeah.
Well, I
don't want to say what that is.
Can't wait to be there. I will be there.
There you go.
with bells on.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much. We announced it here first, so
there you go, folks. I mean,
Take
another
care.
first for the show. I mean, 7 years has been a lot of firsts.
yes,
Well, so long, guys.
Like a repeat, like a part 2. I'm just saying.
for sure.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care. And
Yeah.
bye, everybody.
Before you go away, Ben, go ahead.
So, where do you amazing ladies like to interact with your fans on social medias? Do you have a preference?
Well, I'll go first because I have 2 websites. KatherineKramer.com and Kat Kramer's Films That Changed the World.com. And then there's a K&K Productions Inc. website in the works. It'll be launched hopefully by the time the screening happens in early July. And then I have a lot of Facebook pages. My X handle is @KatherineKramer, and I'm changing my Instagram, but it's like hashtag Kat Kramer. I have more than one Facebook page, so we'll be here all day if I go into that.
Me,
And
I don't have anything.
it'll be on the website.
I have the K&K Productions in the works to all the things that we've produced together, and that's coming out hopefully in the next couple of months. Other than that, I don't have anything up there.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
we hope to make it by July 5th, but it may be after that, but it will be this year.
Yeah.
Make sure you check the show notes, folks, because I believe there's some links in there for that. I guess you'll just have to wait and see.
Okay.
Wait for part 2.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Jeffrey
you.
Mark. Same
Yes,
question
sir.
for you, sir.
Same question for me, sir. On Facebook, Jeffrey Mark, just as it's spelled below me here. For those of you listening only, it's GeoffreyMark. On Instagram, it's Jeffrey Mark Showbiz, all one long word. If you had, how could you not have had a wonderful time with us today? Ben and I do another show together. Ben is the producer. I'm on camera. It's GPE, Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella. Every week we do a show where we play Ella Fitzgerald's music on a theme, and I, who've written 2 books about her and worked with her at the end of her career, give you all kinds of insider stories about the music, the recordings, and Miss Ella herself. We will be starting next month a 3rd of these, Jeffrey Mark Live on Broadway, also produced by Ben, so look out for that. My new album, Jeffrey Mark Sings the Ella Fitzgerald Song, will be coming out late in the summer, maybe just after Labor Day, we shall see. So look for me in all of those places. And a shout out to Ben for making so much of this possible for me. Thank you, my friend.
So as far as us, stilltoking.com, you can find all 7 seasons there, everything you want to know about myself and my business partner, Mr. Holman, who is on hiatus right now. From the novel writings to the comic books to the TV series, the animation, and of course, like I said, this amazing show. We want to thank Kat and Karen for taking time out of their super busy schedule, because they're like me. They're 7 days a week, 24/7. That's how we work. For answering some questions for you. Hopefully you guys had fun. I mean, I had a blast.
We did.
I
We
had a
had a
wonderful time.
blast.
Thank you.
I was
so
in
much.
La La Land listening to the stories. So,
Thank
but to all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do, so people like us can come up here and do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
God bless. Have a happy.
Bye.
So come on.